Hey, Orchinistas, orchid lovers and orchid enthusiasts all around the world. Welcome to the channel. Have you ever had an orchid that you received and it came into you from shipping and it has all of these black marks, this discoloration on the leaves? Look at this one here, right here. Have you ever had that before? Well, I want to tell you about these two plants, and I want to tell you what this is. Okay, so I placed an order from Akasuko Orchid Gardens in Volcano, Hawaii recently, and this is RLC Midori Sato. I saw this in bloom last fall. This is a fall blooming Cattleya orchid, and I fell in love with the fragrance. I had to have it. It was on my wish list, and I found it at Akasuko. And when I got my first plant in, it came in looking like this. Now this does go in some areas all the way through to the back of the leaves, right here. And I wasn't too worried about that. That's not that big of a deal. That's just cosmetic. What this is heat damage. When this plant was in shipping from Hawaii to the continental United States, somewhere along the line in the 2 days from FedEx that it came to me, it got some heat damage. Wasn't too worried about that plant. Move these over to the side here. Just like I said, it's just cosmetic. And you know what I do? Every time I get an orchid into my growing environment, I use what? Sea kelp extract. All of you that said sea kelp extract, you are correct. And I do that because the plant has been stressed. And I want to kick those hormones in and help the plant out from being stressed. This is an obvious sign of stress. This is heat damage. This is a stressor. So I did that like a couple times, and the pseudobulbs, they still kept desiccating. Now this plant sits in a southeast window along with other mature cattleyas that I received at the same time. They're fine. They're not desiccating. This one is. And I also noticed it started getting very top heavy, and it literally fell out of the 5.5-inch pot. Well, what did I notice when it did that? Look at this. It has hardly any roots. This is more likely the viable roots that are on this plant. Any of the other ones that are on here have rotted or possibly been chewed, chomp, 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 by snails or slugs. I did notice that a lot of the root tips looked like they had just been chewed off. Snails, you can typically see, will have, looks like the root tip is kind of like the center of the root has a hole in it. So I sent pictures of this to Akasuko. I explained to them that this was the plant that I really, really wanted, and that was the whole reason for me placing the order. And could they give me a refund or send me another plant? I mean, I was ecstatic to get this one, of course, because look at this new growth here that also has a flower sheath. I have a good chance this will bloom this fall. Now I don't know because of all of the root damage. So they ended up sending me another plant. And look, same thing. It came in heat damaged on this leaf and the back one here. Just cosmetic, but this one came with a new growth and lots of new root tips. Let's see if we can get in here. This is a good section, hopefully. And let's see if the camera will focus on that. Can you see those root tips in that pot? Maybe if I turn it a little bit, the camera will focus on those root tips. So this one definitely came with a lot of new root tips. This one here, no root tips. None whatsoever. So I've got a good chance of this one continuing to grow. I do notice that there are a couple of root tips. I've got one here by the tag. There's a root tip right down in here. that is black, that it looks like either the root tip touched a piece of bark. When they're really new, the root tips can be really sensitive. This could have been in transit, got shifted, and that root tip has died back. It's not going to grow because that root itself is not even, not, well, maybe it was getting close to half an inch, maybe. They usually need to be a lot longer before they will branch. So that particular root isn't going to grow. The one right here, the side of it's longer, it potentially could grow. So I don't know if I'm going to repot this one or not, or just leave it because we've got lots of new root tips on it. Leave it in this pot. Go on and let this pseudobulb here continue growing, and hopefully I'll get a large growth just like I did here, and I'll get a flower sheath. Wouldn't that be great? Now this one here, we'll go back to the original. So before I realized how top heavy it was and that it was falling out of the pot and it literally had no root system, I soaked this in sea kelp extract probably twice, if I had to guess. And since pulling it out of the pot and literally sticking it here, I've left it for probably about a week, and we have new root tips growing. There is at least 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 that have started. This is starting to swell a little bit of swelling there. Let me see if the camera will focus on those root tips. I'm just going to have to put up a picture of those new root tips there and let you see those. So we shall see what will happen with those. But I wanted to show you these two plants. This video was twofold. Wanted to show you heat damage on a Cattleya and what that might look like for you in case you ever get one like that. And then the great customer service that Akasuko Orchid Gardens has, that they were willing to give me a second plant and go ahead and ship it to me. So stay tuned to the channel. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, happy orchid growing.